This morning's Saratoga Today Show is proudly sponsored by the Adelphi Racing Club, of which I am a proud member as well. It's a top class partnership experience with transparent communication and success on the racetrack, with more than 50% of the time starters in the money since its inception in 2020. Recent stake winners include Funny How and Pandagate, who is running today in the Albany Stakes. Adelphi's got a practical approach to horse racing acquisition, which means our partners compete at the highest levels of the sport at efficient price points. Royal Poppy and Gemmin 10 are also horses that were purchased for under $150,000 at auction or via private purchase. And you can learn a lot more about the Adelphi Racing Club right there at the bottom of the screen. Reach out to Matt Cutair, the racing manager. The website is adelphiracing.com. His email is matt@adelphiracing.com. Please make sure you check them out because Adelphi Racing Club is a fantastic partnership for sure. Now, let's go ahead and start today's show, Saratoga Today, for Sunday, August 25th.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Are we awake? Can we still handle today's fantastic card? Because it's NY-Bred Showcase Day right here at Saratoga. Thanks for joining us, HHH Racing Podcast at Saratoga Today for Sunday, August 25th. You can see already on the screen, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to go after a very long but exciting Travers Day. Is my good friend and co-host. The closest thing that I can come to a NY-bred right here on the HHH Racing Podcast, just across the border, born in New Jersey, from New Jersey, Patrick Hunsel. Patrick, how you doing today?
Doing well. Good morning, everybody. I did type in the power picks, the beginning, hopefully everybody got over their hangover, because what a day yesterday was. What that racing was just unbelievable. I mean, I know we'll talk about it a little bit, but that was just a tremendous card.
It was fantastic. We're going to deep dive into the recap of the stakes on tomorrow's Horse Around show. Check that out. It's me, myself, and Pete Visco, 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you watch us tomorrow night, Monday night, for Horse Around, where we're going to deep dive Patrick. I know it was a mixed bag in general. I did not have a winning day. I know you didn't either, although my play of the day on our power picks, domestic product, did win it at a ridiculous, I thought, 9-2. So I was very happy for myself and all the people that follow our power picks tip sheet with domestic product. But before we get on to the late pick five, we're going to talk about the late pick five today, Patrick, on a very exciting day. But there is a race that's just before the late pick five, race 5, the Albany Stakes. It's a $250,000 race. Of course, it's for NY-breds, as I believe almost all the races are today, if not every single one. And we've got a special guest, Patrick, and I am so happy to have this gentleman on. You've seen him on the airwaves, on In the Money, and on this show, and commercials and winner's circles and everywhere. He is wide awake. He's ready to go, and he is pumped for his horse that is running the Albany Stakes. Let's bring it on right now. Matt Cutair, racing manager of Adelphi Racing and a proud sponsor of this show. Matt, how you doing today?
I am pumped, but I'm definitely a ball of nerves. So I thank you guys for having me on. Break up my morning. Let me think about something. Well, I guess I'm still going to be thinking about Pandagate in the race, but in a little bit of a different way than me just sitting here stewing and waiting for 3:20 Eastern.
I'm going to do something I shouldn't do, which PTF does once in a while. It was actually a question that I actually don't know the answer to. Obviously, Pandagate raced in the Middle East for, $1 million, whatever that purse was. Is this the second highest purse that Adelphi Racing has been involved with? This is a $250,000 race.
Yeah, this is the second highest purse. Correct. The
Okay,
the
that was
Dubai race was a flat million. This is $250,000. So
pretty exciting. Well, we're going to talk to you just for a little bit, Matt, about two things. First, we're going to quickly talk about the Albany and Pandagate. I know Patrick has a question about the partnership that he wants to ask you, and we'll get into that in just a second. The Albany's race 5. I'm a little bit surprised, frankly, Matt, that it's a $250,000 race, and yet it's a field of 5. As you know, there is a scratch in the race. Here's the field, and it's a lot of similar horses that you saw at Finger Lakes for the New York Derby. Pandagate, no pressure, Matt. You're 4 to 5 morning line. I would say, I'd venture to say on your way to 2 to 5, 3 to 5. I don't know. So obviously, I'm assuming no big win bets coming your way with a $250,000 purse. But talk about this horse in this race a little bit.
yeah, I mean, look, I think we obviously have a very big shot in here. It's horse racing, and you never know when they line up, exactly how they're going to run. But Pandagate's obviously been a pretty consistent horse. He's never lost against New York-breds in his short career thus far, and I thought he won the New York Derby last time at Finger Lakes in a really gritty effort for him. He wasn't, 100% cranked for that, spot. We just didn't have the time. Christoph didn't have the time to get the number of works into him that he would have wanted to have him fully cranked for that. And I thought he just kind of gutted it out at the end. He's obviously a very talented racehorse, but it was good to see him, really, throw down in that race and gut it out. I think he beat a pretty nice horse there in Doc Sullivan. And, on paper, obviously, Doc Sullivan's going to be the other horse that will take money in this spot. Doc Sullivan was actually favored in the New York Derby, I think just based on how his form had gone upward since we had beaten him in the Gander early in the year. And he fought hard and ran really well in there. I do think, though, that, we should, if the mornings are any indication, we should run a better race second off the bench this time than we did first off the bench. And we've always thought that added distance would help our horse. And obviously going the mile and an eighth here, the extra 16th of a mile, I think will be a big deal. I guess my small concern would just be the pace scenario in here. It sounds like maybe Doc Sullivan's going to go. And, hopefully there's enough horses with enough early pace to kind of keep him company, at least to a certain extent. And, hopefully we break okay and aren't too far back and left with too much to do. I think that's probably the thing I worry about the most in this race is the pace scenario. And we got to scratch. It's a 5-horse field, but we got to scratch from a horse that probably would have shown some speed and made life maybe a little bit more difficult on Doc Sullivan. So, look, I think we've got a very, very big chance to win. I think the horse will run better this time than last time. And if he does, he should win this race. But it's horse racing. You never know.
No, and Patrick, with small fields, things can get a little bit weird. I mean, I don't see a fast pace. Patrick, if you were to advise Matt Cutair and Dylan Davis, not that you have to do either one at all, but maybe have Pandagate a little bit closer, or just let him, drop back and just run his style. I mean, he's no Sierra Leone. Pandagate, we know, is better than that.
Yeah, exactly. I know, and I mean, Dylan obviously having an awesome meet. I think he'll sit the right trip, and he knows this horse pretty well. I mean, I thought, I know you could hit on it, Matt. I thought the New York Derby, I mean, that ride did go 4 wide, was, had to be a little gut wrenching, but made the right move and got up very soundly, which was nice.
Yeah, it's a tough track, I think, for a horse like Pandagate Finger Lakes. I mean, it's tighter turns, and he's a really big horse. And, as I mentioned, he was a horse that was probably a little bit short for that race as it was. So I think Dylan did the right thing and kind of got into him early and encouraged him around the turn. And in talking to Dylan after the race, I think he thought once I got him to the top of the stretch and got him going into that big, long stride, I felt pretty good. This is Dylan saying this, that he would win the race. I think hopefully, better racetrack for us probably this time, a added distance, a longer stretch, all that sort of stuff should knock on wood help. But like you said, it's a short field. Crazy things can happen with the pace scenario. Does sound like Doc Sullivan's going to go. So hopefully we're close enough. I don't think he's one that has to be, 8 or 9 out of it. I think hopefully he's, 3, 4, 5 back and, can make his run.
Well, if he wins this race, which we all hope he will, he'll be, around $400,000. I can't tell you enough how impressed I am with Christophe Clement, the whole team. You've been very patient with this horse. I actually saw Pandagate down at Payson in December, and he was big then. You said this is a big horse, and I'll tell you what, with big horses, they need time to develop. whether he wins or not, let's just assume he's going to win. Quick thoughts on where he might go next. He might try open company. Do you have any, anything mapped down the road for the rest of 2024 into 25? And then we'll get into the partnership.
Yeah, I mean, look, 100% agree. I think the way that Christoph has managed this horse has been very, very good, and that's no surprise. I mean, he's should be a Hall of Fame trainer, as we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he's not already, but he will be. And the decision on where we go next will be up to Christoph. He's managed things expertly so far, and I'm sure he will moving forward. I think a lot of people were curious why we went to the UAE Derby, and one of the reasons we took that shot then was when you look at sort of that New York-bred stakes calendar for 3-year-olds, you had the Gander, and then you really didn't have anything until the Mike Lee, and the Mike Lee was Belmont Stakes weekend, but it was 7 furlongs, and we weren't sure he wanted to go shorter anyway. So then you looked at it and you said, okay, there really isn't anything until July. And so it was a natural point of the calendar that if we were going to take a shot, ship him halfway across the world and be in a situation where, had to give him a little time out of that, like you would normally do, that was the right time to do it. Since we got back from then, we've been laser focused on the New York Derby and then the Albany. So those have been the targets. I think once these 2 races are done, then to your point, we could probably start looking at open company again if he performs today and is headed in the right direction. He's a horse that should just continue to get better as he gets older as well. So we're not, in a rush to just run in an open company big race to run in an open company big race. If you needed a little time out of the race and you want to bring him back later in the year, early as a 4-year-old, we might do that as well. He's a neat horse that should flourish as he gets older, and we want to make sure we have a good horse for those years as well.
Yeah, and he's sort of carried the torch. Let's talk about the partnership a little bit, Matt. Again, if you have any questions for Matt Cutair, I'll go ahead and put the banner on the screen again where you can contact Matt right now. For those of you watching live, his email and the website. I think Funny House sort of puts you guys on the map, not only because of the name, but because what you did on the track. The now pregnant, by the way, Funny How. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I just said it anyway. So Funny How is going to be having a baby at some point, which is exciting. But, Panagate's sort of carried the torch from her, and it's probably the most famous horse you guys have had. Patrick, I want you to have I know you have a question for Matt. I'm a proud partner of this racing club. It's the first horse racing partnership that I've been a part of. It's been a few years now, Matt, and I can't say enough great things. You've been tremendous to me in every way, shape, or form. And you're also a sponsor of this podcast, which we greatly appreciate. But Patrick, I know at some point you might want to dabble into partnerships, and we have a lot of people, Matt, that watch this show that are experienced handicappers, and we also have a lot of younger and less experienced handicappers. Patrick, you have a question for Matt.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, younger guy like me, interested maybe sooner than later to get into a partnership. What's like the price point, you're looking at to get into a partnership, whether, any syndicate for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is in 2024, I mean, there's just a variety of options out there at all different levels, buying into different kinds of horses, whether, you want to have the baby experience with a yearling or a 2-year-old, or you want to go the claiming route. There's a variety of different, good partnerships out there, in my opinion. My advice always is, think about how much you want to spend and then figure out how you can spread that out as much as possible, at least in the beginning. Because, a lot of times horse racing is a numbers game. You can buy a good horse, but that horse is not sound, or, mentally just doesn't want to do it. You can buy a bad horse. You could buy a good horse that takes you to places like Pandagate, Funny How, and other good horses. There's a variety of different outcomes. And so, you've got to diversify in general and buy into as many horses as you can, to give yourself a chance to get the good ones that, quote unquote, pay for the bad ones. But also just from an experience standpoint, a lot of people come to me and they think, oh, I want to buy a yearling. And then they buy a yearling and they go through the experience of not seeing that horse race for a year. And the impatience sort of, comes in, and, they would have been better off getting involved in our, there you go, Howard. Now that you've got a nice cycle of racing horses.
You had to bring on Matt straight, didn't you? Indirectly.
But it can take a long amount of time. And that's why we do, our private purchase and claiming fund and things like that, which I know, Howard, you just got involved with for the first time this year. It's a good way to sort of balance the baby stuff with action. And so my advice is always just, find a couple of different partnerships that you're interested in, invest the minimum amount of money, spread your money out as much as you possibly can, get a diversity of experiences, whether it's diversity of partnerships, diversity of the types of horses you're buying, et cetera. and then you'll gravitate towards what you like, and you'll have fun with it. In terms of us, we typically have a minimum investment of somewhere in the 5,000-ish range. If we buy a horse that's 100,000 or less, usually I'll put a 3% minimum on that horse. If it's if it's 1,000 or less, usually I put a 5% minimum on that horse. If it's 100,000 plus, usually I put a 3% minimum on the horse. But there's a variety of different ways to go about it, and we can talk, Patrick, if you're interested.
I was just going to say, Patrick, Matt will work with you. He's worked with me, and I've been a part of other partnerships, and there's different kinds. I'm with two other partners with West Point and Crown's Way, and one is less expensive than Adelphi. West Point is quite more expensive than Adelphi, but good people like Matt, Patrick will work with you and anyone else out there if you're really interested, especially if you throw the HHH Racing Podcast name out there. I think Matt might just give you a little special, not bonus, but special help with purchasing. Matt, listen, we really appreciate you got a busy day. I can hear in your voice it's not the 40 days, it's the 40 nights or whatever it is, right? That's Saratoga. That'll get you. Please say hi to Jem for me. Give him a little, pat on the neck there. Where I believe, was he your only winner so far at Saratoga this summer? Is that right?
Yeah, because Panagate obviously won at Finger Lakes during the meet. Okay. But that was at Finger Lakes. So Jem's our current lone winner. Hopefully today we get a second, and I think we've had a couple of live shots next week. So hopefully we have a good ending to the meet. We had a nice baby debut last Wednesday, so hopefully that's an indication of a hot end of the meet. I definitely am in that stage where I'm sad to see the meet go, but I also probably need it to be over and need to get back to my regular life and not 40 crazy nights like you referenced, for sure.
Patrick,
but hopefully tonight's one more crazy night.
No, tonight's got to be a crazy night. Patrick, I'll let you have the last word because Matt's taking care of you really well when you've been there. I mean, I just want you to talk about Matt and the partnership in general without the horses, because they do a great job and they've helped you and your friends for really no reason other than just to be nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, great group of guys, awesome to hang out with, great experiences. I mean, that experience we had with, the whole podcast being up there and Jem winning was just an awesome experience. I honestly thought Matt might propose to you, Howard, that he was going to fly you in this morning so you can get it. You seem to be pretty lucky with it.
I've got time.
I went on Seth Merrow's Capital OTB show, and he brought that up. And I was thinking after, I'm like, damn, he's right. Howard's been here twice. Not only did he pick 2 weekends that his horses were running, which in and of itself is like, that doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
You pick one of the 8 weeks and you have runners. But then he's won both times. So I don't know how. What time is it? It's 11 o'clock. Can you get here by 3? Is it possible?
Sure. Well, you got the private jet. We'll just whip up with the big Adelphi, the black and white Adelphi, wing, and I'll get there, no problem. I've got the Adelphi. Where is it? Right there. I've got the Adelphi logo there in the back as always. So, Matt, I don't think you're gonna need my help today. Panda's gonna win, man. So, listen, Matt, we appreciate you coming on, and most importantly, I appreciate your friendship and your sponsorship of this podcast. You're a good guy. The partnership is awesome, and much success. Good luck with Panda today.
I appreciate it. Good luck to everybody today playing the races.
Take care, Matt.
Good luck, Matt.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
All right, Matt Cutair. I own enough good things to say, Pat. They should win. They really. I know. Matt's not going to say he doesn't want to jinx himself. I think it would be I'll put my own words, a major disappointment if they don't win today. So I hope they do win. I hope Dylan stays wide, Patrick. Just the same trip we just saw. Don't get cute. Don't try to come inside between horses. Go as wide as you have to be and just roll by in the stretch. Right. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. He'll know he has the best horse. Treat it like he's the best horse, and just like you said, go wide and get into the stretch and just kick home well.
Totally agree. Let's get on to late pick 5. Again, we really do appreciate Matt Cutair and the Adelphi Racing Club. Late pick 5 starts in race 7 today, and there's really a lot of good stake races. It's a New-Bred Showcase day. I should have asked Matt about, what New-Breds mean to himself and the sport, but we didn't have time to get into that. But obviously a lot of money in the line here for all the New-Breds. The first race is an allowance race on the turf. It's a mile and a 16. It's on the inner turf. Of course, it's New-Breds. The monster field. There are a bunch of scratches that are in that you can see on the screen. You can, let's see, scratch the 2B, I believe, tongue twister. I think it's the 2B. You can also scratch the 1A, scratch the 9 and the 13. Morning line favorite as I scroll carefully. Wow. Looks like it's 9-2 co-favorites with Island Fox and the number 12 Midnight Concerto. I'm going 11-7-2. Pat's going 7-11-1. Let's talk about Island Fox for the aforementioned Christophe Clement, Dylan Davis. That's your top choice.
Yeah, on debut, she was, kind of rough trip, parked four or five wide down the back stretch. And actually, I know lost by 7 lengths, but kind of, stayed on with it and continued. Showed some resilience there. So then they put her on the turf right after the 4th of July, and she's 14-1 that day. And listen, she got a great trip, but I thought she won, pretty impressively. And now that field was actually pretty good. Came back with a couple winners in there that actually just won at the meet. So I think she's sitting on another nice trip in here. Should be forwardly placed again, sit in that pocket trip like second or third, and hopefully can kick on with it. The 9 Lakeside Getaway. This I thought this was going to be a fast pace, but with the 9 scratching, this could get a little more interesting.
Well, that's what I thought. And then I re-looked at the time for him, Patrick, and actually they still have it they have the 9 in there, but you don't really. You can ignore that because the 9's not in, but they have the 3, 4, and 5 up there, and they still have a fast pace. So I don't know. We'll see. I thought this was a very difficult race, really wide open. I'm going to go with the 11. That's a tough post. I believe this is on the. Let's see. I think now I'm drawing a blank. I think this is on the inner, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, it's on the inner, which usually. Oh, there it is. Usually I would not like the 11 hole, but with all the scratches, that horse is not going to be too wide. This is a James Bond horse, the number 11 row Agna, 6-1 morning line, probably a little bit less than that. Best closer in the race in theory. Blinkers off. Castellano can sort of get the job done. If this horse, Patrick, can save the ground on the first turn, I think she has a big shot. But I don't love this horse. I have the 2. The 12 is also a closer. So it's a wide open race. You got Irad with Busy Morning, you've gotten third. Cannon Fire is a horse that our wonderful co-host Paul Howard has his wife has a small piece of, because I think it was an anniversary present from Paul to his wife a few years ago with Cannon Fire for Zilla Racing. It's a spread, right, Patrick, to start the pick 5?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on it. The 1 and 11, I think the 1 Busy Morning probably deserves, another shot after that last trip. And then the 11, she was really impressive on debut. Not really sure what happened. Maybe not the most ideal trips the last 3 races, but I definitely think there's something there. So I do like the 11 as well.
People commenting in the chat very quickly. We've got Chris Couples here. 1 is the trip horse, Busy Morning. Never had lane last time, just in hand behind horses. So I'll take a look at that replay again. You've got that 1 third. I've got the 1 as a B. So we'll see what happens. Let's go on to the next race, Patrick. Next race, as I bring up right now, is the Fleet Indian, one of many stakes. This is for older fillies and mares. They're actually for 3-year-olds only. Sorry, this is restricted 3-year-olds going 1 1/8 miles. It's quite a stretch out for some of these horses. It's a relatively small field of 7. Scratch the 3, scratch the big favorite My Main Squeeze, who ran pretty well for a good second at Charlestown Friday night. That's going to put the favorite. We're going to land literally on landed as the post-time favorite, most likely, for Wesley Ward with a New York bred going 2 turns on dirt. Bizarre. That is not usually what Wesley does, Patrick, for Johnny V, who last time I checked had a pretty good day yesterday, winning with Fiercest, who you and I were completely against, but that's a whole other story for another day. Let's see who we've got here on the screen. I'm going 4-9-2. Wow, you're going 4-2-9. We both like Dolomite for Brown and Franco. Chad also had a pretty good day yesterday as well.
Yeah, Chad did it. It was funny seeing yesterday, just watching the Fox telecast after he won with Domestic Product. He was very animated. I haven't seen Chad that animated in a long time, winning a race like that. But obviously that was a huge win. So that was great. And Dolomite, listen, I think maybe we can kind of get the same type of trip with Dolomite. Picking up all the pieces in this spot. Was in the Demoiselle 2 back, going 1 1/8 miles. I'm just not sure that the horse wants that distance. And then last out in that state bred allowance race, I thought won impressively. Veering out into stretch in the 4 path and just clearing and running on with it. So I'm hoping gets that same type of trip in here. I don't know what else you saw in the number 4 Dolomite.
Do you know what Dolomite is? Do you know what that means, Patrick?
I do not. You're putting me on the
It
spot. I do
it
not.
is a min. It is a well. I gotta really put you on the spot now and show you on screen. It is. I was pretty sure. I'll admit I have to double check though. It is a mineral made up of calcium and magnesium. So there you
Okay.
go. I'm not smart enough to know that in my head. I did look it up. I agree with you. I think this horse second off the layoff is going to run a big race. I think what I like most about her though, Patrick, is the fact that, as you said, she ran in the Demoiselle as a 2-year-old. She's bred to go long. A lot of these horses have big distance question marks to me, and you figure second off the layoff, she's just going to run even better. This is a very progressive 3-year-old, and when I mean progressive, Patrick, it's that everyone in this field, you think this is the one that's probably going to take the has the best right to take a step forward, right? As opposed to others that you sort of know who they are. I do think the number 9 Caldwell Loves Gold, who's named after a very cute, I think, grandson of the ownership, and his name is Caldwell. I remember hearing about that story. This horse also ran well at Finger Lakes. I think that might have been the same day actually as Pandagate. I have to check, but or
Yep.
the same weekend. This horse clearly has improved as a 3-year-old, can get the distance, should sit a nice trip. I think this is the main factor. I don't know what to do with Landon. I realize Landon has an inside post and will probably be on the lead. I'm not sure about the 1.125 with this horse, and you figure she'll take some pace pressure at some point.
Yeah, for sure. With my main squeeze, passing on this one for running in Charlestown, I think Landon becomes kind of the clear favorite in here. Looking to win her second stakes in a row. Listen, faced a pretty strong field last out, so listen, I think Dolomite it comes back to just sitting that off the pace and just trying to pick up the pieces on hopefully a couple horses that will send early.
I might be getting too cute trying to beat Landed. I just think there's others that are going to be interesting. Landed's going to be 7-5, I think, potentially in this race. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun race for sure. Let's go ahead to the next leg of the pick 5 sequence. It's another stake race that is completely changed. I was really excited about this race. I still am, but there are some big scratches and some big changes we got to talk about. It's the funny side, named after the gutsy gelding funny side, who was, won the Kentucky Derby. What an unbelievable story he was. This is for 2-year-olds, though. They're sprinting 6 furlongs, $200,000. The scratch of the 3 Friday Surprise, not the biggest deal in terms of who might win this race, but the scratches of 6 Bostonian and 7 Under Whose Radar really changes this race, because, Patrick, there were 10 horses signed on in this race, and like 8 of them were supposed to show not only like a little bit of early speed, like massive early speed. This was going to be some kind of crazy war up front. It still might be, because the number 1 Smile and Say Cheese has speed. The Toner is not slow. Mi Bajo, the 4, is a long shot, will show a lot of speed. In the Chase will show speed. Moplex will show speed. So let's see what we do in this race. It's going to be really interesting. I'm going off the reservation here. I'm going 9, 10, 1. Patrick's going 10, 1, 9. We've got the same 3. Patrick, let's talk about Moplex, who I had last time when I was on with Equine Edge live, and it was a nice little score for me. How is Ira going to work this out from the outside? Does he have to have the lead from there? And if he does, he's going to have to really outbreak them or gun hard.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to gun hard, and does need the lead. I just think, I honestly think this horse is just better than a lot in here. I know the 7 Under Whose Radar is very good and posted a really nice buyer last time out. But
that'd be the 8, by the way, everyone. Just like that's the. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, who's scratched? But the 7 is scratched.
Oh, sorry, the 7 scratched. Yeah, that's my fault. I think just reverting back to Moplex, that Sanford win was impressive. Face obviously Open Company in there. You would have thought, and I'll propose this as a question to you. Open Company next weekend in one of the 2-year-old races. for stakes. I'm kind of questioning that, but I guess just the New York bred thing, and how great these purses are, kind of inclined them to go this route. But this field might be tougher than the Sanford.
Maybe this was open company. Well, I don't think the field is tougher necessarily, but I do think there's a lot more speed in this race. I mean,
Yeah.
he was able to clear last time, and UC was able to hang on and win there. But your question in terms of next week's the hopeful, that's 7 furlongs. I think you nailed it on the head. The purse here is great, Patrick. This is a much easier spot than next week. There's no reason for them to challenge open company horses that are going to be much tougher going longer. I think they know what they've got, so I completely agree with the connections going here. The scratches help Moplex probably more than anyone in this race, which is why I have him second. We don't know if he can comfortably sit off horses and go by. He might have to do that here. So I don't know. With all the speed, let me just show very quickly the pace projector, and then we'll move on to my pick. You see it says a fast pace, even with the scratches, although the 7 is out, but the 8's quick, the 10's quick, the 4's still could be quick. So who knows? Because the effing Travers ended up being a fast pace, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But anyway, soon to be king. This is what I'm going with. I'm going with the 9-horse soon to be king. 15-1 morning line. We're obviously not going to get that today, Patrick, with all the scratches. He'll be, I don't know, 6-1, 8-1. What I want to do here is show the Sanford. Now, we just watched the race, right? But I do want to show the beginning of the race. So this is very important to watch here. Watch the number 4 as I'm going to go to the head on. Watch what happened here at the break, Patrick, to the number 4, soon to be king. See right there? Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's just watch that again. Complete sandwich job, Patrick, right? Absolutely no chance at all after that. And when I go ahead and, whoops, I didn't want to bring that. When I show I'll just go right to the end of the race again. I know we just watched it. Soon to be king is right here. He's the 4. Patrick, it's not like he lost by a lot. Sure, he got beat. There's no doubt about it. He lost by, what was it, 4 or 5 lengths or whatever it is. But it's not like he gave it up. He still ran on a little bit. It's not, I don't know. I don't think it's that much a difference. And what I see, Patrick's a horse that is going to appreciate a lot of early speed in front of him. I think he'll take back, make one run. Is he good enough? I have absolutely no idea, but I just don't want to go with a speed horse here, Patrick. It's pretty much that simple for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. And more times than not, these 2-year-old races, these fractions are just so fast early that the pace does seem to fall apart a lot. And I think the 9 is definitely the horse that can pick up all these pieces.
I wouldn't completely even toss out the 5. I'm going to use the 5 also, who is going to be coming from behind. Maybe someone's just going to wire the field. The toner is not going to be 20-1. I'm almost using everyone in this field, Patrick. Whenever you have a situation where there's a race for a lot of early speed and you have 2-year-olds, think of all the 2-year-old prices we've had this year, right? In stake races. The Queen's MG won at, what was that, 25-1 early in the meet, and we've seen some crazy stuff happen.
Oh yeah, one that opening day stake at some 40-1 or something. Yeah, so right. Yeah, that point is very valid on trying to catch a price in these baby races.
A race that neither one of us are going to try to get a price on is the Yadu. The Yadu Stakes is for the fillies and mares that are 3-year-olds and up, going to mile 16 on the turf. Snowy Vision is scratched. There's a heavy favorite, a well-deserving one for Clement Rosario. Silver Skillet, 8-5. We're not messing around here. 5-1-4 for me, 5-7-6 for you. This is a very talented filly. I will say, though, there is a little more speed in this race. I don't think she's a complete slam dunk, but she's clearly the horse to beat.
Yeah, looking to win her 3rd in a row. I think she's a better turf horse than dirt. She did have to run on the dirt, during the Belmont Stakes Festival up at Saratoga, in that Port Washington. But I just think, she is way the horse to beat. You look at the 4, what Love looks like. She's going to come off the layoff. I did think the connections kind of were a little bit over the top, trying to stretch her out. But I just think Silver Skillet is such a versatile horse and, loves this division.
Yes. I have her 3rd. Actually, you don't have her anywhere. I don't like this layoff at all. Look, Pletcher can win off layoffs. Where's this horse been? And now they point to this tough spot. I guess that's a good thing, right? Like, they could have pointed somewhere else, but she has 5 wins, so she's not. I don't know if there's gonna be a New York allowance race of non-winners of a race like during this year, Patrick. I don't know if they write that. So I think they have to go to a stake. I'd be a little surprised if this horse wins, but I mean, she's classy. I'll tell you what I'm really interested in. Well, first of all, let's look at the pace projector really quick here. Will Silver Skillet be loose? Not really. They actually have the 7 on top, although they don't have a fast pace, but they do have the number 7 taking the lead. I think Spinning Colors is very interesting, Patrick, and this is the only other one I'm mainly using in my late pick 5. Now, this is a question between buyer and time form, right? You look at the buyer, you see high 70s, and that's probably not good enough. That last race, though, was her first start as a 4-year-old, Patrick. So I think she can improve, number one. Number two, that's a 110 time form. Now, if you take that for what it's worth and you go to Silver Skillet, now she ran a 117, but before that, and that's when she was loose on the lead, right, Patrick? So that's probably the max that she can do. So why cannot the number 1 Spitting Colors improve again to a mid 100s and maybe a mid 80s buyer and be a factor? I just think it's going to rail. It's Johnny V. Again, this is going to be one of the few horses in this race that's progressive, Patrick. I think Spinning Colors, I wouldn't sleep on this horse in possibly to upset Silver Skillet, but doubtful. Let's mention Montage Daydream, this horse you have second, who will show speed and maybe be a thorn in the side of Silver Skillet.
Yeah, that I'm hoping, she can break well and get to the lead, and Jose can kind of cut those fractions, because this horse, going sprint distance and mile last out, actually they were going pretty quick in most of those races. So
Yep.
you revert back to the route here, and hopefully can cut some fractions that are a little bit slower in here, because if nobody's going to go with this horse, that it could get interesting, and she could try and take them all the way.
So this is a dead send. So if Silver Skillet goes like aggressively or maybe outbreaks the 7, would you want Jose to sit just off or just say, F it, I'm just going to go for it and just whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, you look, it's kind of one of those situations where I think it's whatever happens, because I mean,
okay, you just go.
Yeah, the 2 turns, this horse is only one on the lead. So it's going to be tough.
It's going to be interesting. The break is huge. I mean, if you want someone break from the gate, well, Jose Ortiz is not the worst guy to have, Patrick. And it's a weird race because I'm not singling Silver Skillet, but I'm going to use her very strongly. I might even use the 1 as an A also in my ABC. I don't know. I've got to think about it. Maybe I can call a friend and ask him what to do with the late pick 5, maybe partner up. Let's see, who might that be? Anyway, we'll see what happens. The last race, and we thank everyone for watching. We have, again, Patrick, hundreds of people watching this morning live right now on YouTube, on our X handle as well. We just really appreciate everyone watching. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Look into our power picks. I didn't do as many promotions here at the beginning. Let me just throw that out real quick, Patrick, before we end our show this wonderful Sunday morning. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Power picks, again, my spot play, I wrote them yesterday. Had a lot of seconds and thirds, which I'm not unhappy about. I just hope to get wins for everyone. Slap in the face ran real well and finished a good second. But my power pick spot play of the day yesterday, domestic product, did win at 9-2 in the Jerkins. Look below the video player if you're interested in our power picks tip sheet. We have them for Saratoga only next week. And then, of course, next week also, Patrick, is the big Pacific Classic Day, which you and the B&B guys are covering next Thursday. We're actually changing the days. Noah Maher writes the Del Mar only power picks, and he's been crushing it all summer. Again, look below the video player for information on our power picks tip sheet, which you can get on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. That was a pretty good transition. I've gotten better at this hosting thing. It's taken a while, though. It's not easy, Patrick. Let's get on to the last race here. The last race of the day is a tough one. So you want to win this late pick 5, or you want to end on a big day. You got a challenging race to end it right here, Patrick. Let's go ahead and bring it up on the screen. It's a main special weight. Of course, it is for New York breds. This is for restricted. It's not New York breds, but it is 3-year-olds and up. 90,000, mile to 16th on the inner. It is a big field of 12 with the morning line favorite, the number 2, Capital Spending, Jorge Abreu, and IRAD. And let's see where we are going to go here as I bring it up on the screen eventually, as I was about to rip on myself for being a good host. There we go. I'm going 9-2-3. You're going 2-12-1. So that just tells you how difficult this is, Patrick. We are all over the map. You're going to go with one of 2 Abreu horses, Capital Spending, the number 2 horse.
Yeah, obviously the morning line favorite, like you said, and I think off her last effort kind of deserves that. But I do think that you look at this race, a mile and a 16th. You do question if she's going to want more distance in here because all the first 3 races kind of, I don't know, didn't do much running, but then you look at the buyers and just kept improving. And gets into this spot here where I think she finally found the right field. Trip wise, I'm not really sure. If this horse is going to show much early speed, so it's probably going to come from out of it. I don't know what you thought of her because you do want to grant the price in this race because it's just so wide open.
The reason, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the reason why I wanted to show Summer World is if you go back to second from the bottom, that was the Island Fox race, right? So she was coming on to Island Fox. So Summer World's been involved in tough trips and good horses. That's just why I wanted to bring it up there with the Island Fox connection in the first leg of the pick 5.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why, I think it's kind of interesting with these, these state bred races is because they kind of all are like interchangeable. You find out, they've been facing each other in other races just because, it's kind of, they're all grouped in together. So I think it's one of those things where it's, and you always told me this when you're playing, you got to zig and zag in this game. Sometimes you can't just, you can't just have a love for a horse and kind of stick with it. You kind of have to understand when to hop off, hop back on, which I think we've had to deal with yesterday a lot too. But I won't bring that up.
Well, hey, will you read what Rudy Nastav, this is someone new in the chat that we haven't seen. Really appreciate your thoughts. Why don't you read that for the people who are going to be listening on later, Patrick?
Yeah, I love watching this AM preview. Hope you keep doing them after Toga closes.
There we go. A little maybe Keeneland today. We have done a Keeneland Today show before. So I don't know. Well, we appreciate that, Rudy. I have to make sure my co-hosts are willing to get up this early in the morning and do it. But it is a lot of fun, and our viewership has been awesome, Patrick. Let's talk about the 12. I love the fact you have this 12 in second, by the way. He's got a little Jorge Abreu love this morning, Patrick Kunzel. This is the other one, and I actually have some intel about this horse, but I'll let you talk first. A first-time starter with a very tough post at a price. It's the other Abreu.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, the post was done no favor with that. But I look at the workouts, and the horses seem to be working pretty well. And seeing the clock reports and stuff like that, that it's shown that she should be ready to go. I do question, 3 years old, hasn't raced yet. I'm not sure how much stock you put into that. Sometimes that bothers me, especially, in the summertime up at Saratoga. But I do think just, from what I've seen with the clock report and stuff like that, this horse should be well met. And I don't think we're going to get 10-1.
If you like this horse, you want this horse taking money. Like this horse is, 9-2, 5-1. Look out. Look at the breeding, by the way. Scat Daddy, Leslie's Lady on the sire side from the Grand Dam and Grandsire. And Patrick, I know you're looking a lot more into pedigrees as you continue to improve your excellent handicapping. It's something I've been working on a lot in the last 10 years and has helped me dramatically. Declaration of War and Irish bred on the dam side. There is turf breeding all over the place with this horse. And look, we don't know if this horse can run. Let's just be honest. I will say one thing. The dam showed a lot of early speed. So you'd think perhaps this horse could show some speed from the outside there and cross over, Patrick. And the other thing I'm going to say that I know you do not know, and a lot of people at home do not know, is this workout all the way on the right side here, July 14th. Now, that was over a month ago. Guess who she was working with? The other Abreu. I saw the video. The other Abreu Capital Spending, and she worked very well. They weren't working side by side. It was actually a 3-horse workout, but I really like the way that Sinead blew by the horse in front of her. Capital Spending was actually behind Sinead in that workout. So anyway, I think there's something here, Patrick, with the number 12. I know I don't have her in my top 3, but I'm using her. I'm going with the number 9 in All My Dreams, 8-1 for Dutro. This horse got a ridiculous trip last time, puts the blinkers on. I'm just going to show the end of the race there. Downtown Channel won this race. Watch the number 4. You want to talk about wide, Patrick? This is about as wide. Well, look at the 4 here. That's all you need to see. I mean, this 4 is in the parking lot. I mean, this is complete. Look at this. I mean, completely ridiculous. And then I don't want to show one thing here. Watch carefully, Patrick. Right at the top of the stretch, the horse that won. So the horse, do you see where my cursor is with the green cap there? The horse that won is this horse, and watch the horse come out into the 4. So watch the green cap, right? She's making a move. Watch right. See that bump right there? It sort of prevented, and she lost some momentum and had to take back. And I think that hurt. She did run on okay. I mean, she lost by several lengths, but look, she was, very wide in that race. And this horse sort of bumped her a little bit if you saw that. I think she lost the momentum. I think there's enough early speed in this race. It's wide open. She's 8-1. That could go on forever. But I'm a little bit interested in the number 9 in All My Dreams. I've got your 2. I also have the 3, who's a first-time starter on turf, who I thought ran pretty well in her dirt debut and might be better on turf. It's a very, very difficult race to end the sequence. Generally speaking, Patrick, I spread early and I spread late in the first leg and the last leg. Do you have that kind of vibe as well?
Yeah, I think there's a couple horses you can kind of key in on that we talked about in this sequence. And for me, with Moplex and Silver Skillet, I'll try and probably use those as A's. And, I do think, that race with Moplex does show a ton of speed. So definitely have a couple B's that are closers like you have with the 9 horse in that race. So it's a fun card today. Obviously it's tough to replicate what happened yesterday, but I think that they did do a great job doing the New York-Breds on the day after Travers. And it's awesome to see that we have a friend have a horse in a great race, in a really cool race.
Yeah, we're wishing a lot of success. Speaking of great job, you did a great job, my friend. And I'm sure you're going to do a great job in today's Power Picks tip sheet. You're going to crush it. Those of you that have our Saratoga Power Picks tip sheet, Patrick wrote it up today. I love a lot of things he has to say in there. Hopefully they will come true and get us to the winner's circle. For my wonderful co-host and of Bet and Boozin' and co-host today of Saratoga Today, Patrick Kunzel, almost a New York bred, New Jersey, close enough. I am your Midwestern bred, Illinois bred host, Howard Kravitz. Thanks for joining us this morning for Sunday, August 25th, Saratoga Today. Crush your bets at the spa. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.